Hey everybody, welcome back to another After Effects CS6 tutorial. I'm your host, Buddy Blackford, and today I want to start putting our keyed footage onto a background to try to composite it into another scene. So what compositing basically means is putting your green screen footage or anything else into a scene and making it look like it's actually supposed to be in there. So there's a bunch of steps that we gotta do to do this correctly, and there's things that make it harder for you, and there's things that'll make it easier for you. The first step that I like to, or that like makes it hard or easy on you, is the amount and type of lighting and where it's coming from. So if you get a scene and there's like a certain light source coming from maybe like the top left and it's like obvious, and then you have your green screen footage where the light source is coming from the opposite side, it's going to be pretty hard to make it look completely like it's in the scene. So you want to make sure when you're filming, if you have the option to actually control this, to match up the lighting. So that'll help you composite first. The second thing is to use the highest amount of resolution that you can. So this will make your footage look better, it'll make it easier to key and everything like that. So that's the second part. And then the third part is try to get the best key that you can. So when I keyed my footage here, I used key light, and I messed around with all these different settings, and I added a choker. So there's not much spill or anything. I'll take this off. There's not much spill or anything going on, but when it's over top of the scene, it just doesn't look right. These two have different colors. They basically aren't in the same color space, and it just looks like someone green screened something on top of another thing. So what I want to go over today after that is there's a couple more methods to help you blend in your footage even more into the background. Blurring the edges helps a little bit. I mean, you don't want to blur the shit out of them because it'll just look like a blurry thing, and that doesn't look real. And then there's something called a light wrap, and that will actually help with your edges also. So in real life, the light from the scene wraps around like the actual object. So remember when we're trying to get the spill of the green screen off of like the hand and the gun and everything, that's because the green light reflected off and kind of like wrapped onto the actual scene here, onto the actual hand and gun. So it's going to be the same thing that'll happen when we're in, like if this is in the background. So we could add like a light wrap around here. Now the clouds and the sun are what's going to make the light come off to the object. So we're going to create a light wrap, and I'm going to show you how. So what we're going to do is duplicate our footage twice. Control D onto our footage, and I'll hide this. Toggle switches and modes, and I'm going to shy the layer and turn my shy button on so we can hide that, because that was the first one that I did to make sure it was working pretty nicely. So we've got these two footages here, and we can name them if we want. Wrap 1, and then we can name the other one Wrap Blur. So we're going to end up blurring one of these, obviously. So let's go to this Wrap Blur, and we're going to put an effect on it, let's twirl these down, called Gaussian Blur. G-A-U-S, and Gaussian Blur will come on. And I like this blur. It's a pretty decent blur. It's more advanced of a blur than just a simple blur, or fast blur I mean. So let's bring this up to a decent amount. Let's try 5, and that blurred it pretty decently. Now let's turn on our other one here. We got our wrap 1, and then our wrap blur. So we're going to come down to our toggle switches and modes, and we're going to set the mode of the track matte here to alpha inverted matte, and it's going to give you this outline here, and because it was blurred, it gives you this outline. Now some of it is going to turn up black because of the gun, and this won't give you that nice of a light wrap because it's black, and black isn't a good light. So what we're going to need to do is add some more light to this. So we're going to pre-compose these two layers. So right click on it and come over here to pre-compose when you have both of your layers selected. We're going to name this light wrap. I'm going to hit OK. Now we go into, let's open up the composition by double clicking on it, and this is what we have for a light wrap here. Now remember, the black is going to suck, so we don't want black to be our light wrap. So let's create a new adjustment layer, and this adjustment layer is just going to contain the hue and saturation effect. So let's add that. We're going to go to color correction, hue/saturation. Now pretty much for this one, all we really need to do is increase the lightness. There we go. Now we're starting to get some light edges around the outside. Now we can go back into our actual composition and we see how that's working there. Let's turn on our other gun, the one that we are just going to be using, and we need to set the mode here to something that'll lighten it up a little, maybe add, and then use your eye tool to see how it affects it, and back off. And it looks like there's a little too much. You can see there's a lot of light coming on. Let's see. Yeah, a little too much, but it's we're getting there. So let's go back into our light wrap here. We can either decrease the amount of blur to make it so that there's not as much light wrapping around, or decrease the lightness here. I'll decrease the lightness. Let's see what that does. We can also change the blending mode. Now some of them will be brighter than the others. Let's try screen, and we added screen, and I changed it to screen, and now that looks a lot better. Might be able to, let me try to change this back to 30 and see what it looks like on screen. Yeah, that still has to be moved down to about, we had it on 22, I think. So there we go. So that's how you create a light wrap, and that'll help put this into your scene a lot better. And let's basically look at this on and off with the wrap on and the wrap off. This is off, and then this is on. Now if you want to, you can try to colorize the wrap and maybe make it a little yellowish white to like catch some of this cornfield on there, or whatever you would like. So we can also maybe desaturate this a little. Let's see where we get with the desaturation. Something like that maybe. And that way, in like the areas where it's brown and black, it'll be a little more like grayish whitish color instead of brown. So that's a good way to blend this in a little bit more, and then there's other steps you take to blend in the colors. So we've got this footage blended in and blurred in. Now we can check out the colors. So let's stop the tutorial here, and we'll continue on about compositing into our footage into backgrounds. So see you guys later, and look forward to you on the next tutorial.